Oh, there we go. Got sound. We're back. We're back. Doing more work. Oh, let's get into it, shall we? We're back working on chess game today. Which I, you know, it's fun. It's fun. We've got some bits and pieces that we can be doing. Some nice progress to make. Basically today I want to see if we can get oh well, we'll continue working. So I tell you what, let's restart, shall we? Rewind. Welcome back. We are going to be working more on the game that we were working on yesterday, or the little project that we were working on yesterday, which in my head is turning into a chess-based roguelike, or at least that's kind of what I want to work on, because the whole point of this project is I want something to be like a little bit of a breakup between the regular, like, or normal, the plant game that I was working on. Let me just get the camera a little bit more there we go, that's better. Now I'm in the right place. I want to yeah, so this project, the point of the project is as something to kind of break up working on plant game, give me a bit of a mental reset, but I also want to use it as an opportunity to spend some time learning more and practicing like proper code architecture better, because there's been a problem that I've wanted to solve for an incredibly long time with developing games, especially roguelike games, which is having the dynamic kind of what's the word I'm looking for? The dynamic like effects and combos and things. So like think boons in Inscription, or sigils in Inscription, card effects in something like Yu-Gi-Oh or Magic the Gathering, all these kinds of things. I want to try and actually implement a nice system in Unity where we can be creating all of these maybe as scriptable objects and then assigning them dynamically at runtime, and getting things working nicely like that. Hello. I need to reposition my chat box because it's currently sat on my face. I forgot that I resized the webcam. There we go. That should be better. Perfect. Okay, right, so refresher for what we did yesterday. We put in place a system for configuring a board layout with different pieces, and then also assigning pieces different movements. So we've got pieces that we can select. It will only let us select one at a time, and then for example with the pawn, if we wanted to move to here, we can't because it's not valid. If I wanted to move up here, can't do that, but if I step one forward, it moves it forward. Also set it up so that the black pieces can do the same thing but in the opposite Y direction, and we went ahead and set up a knight based movement as well. So this is our knight piece. I haven't made a visual for it yet. Maybe we'll do some modeling on stream today, but I haven't decided yet. So this is cool. The things that we want to do first in today's stream is carrying on from yesterday's stream. where, let me just turn down the music a bit so it's not crazy loud. We want to finish building our movement logic, so we need to create the continuous movement data scriptable object, making sure that we can get all of the movements in any direction that we specify in there as far as it will go. And then we also want to get capturing work, or get something in the realms of capturing valid. We want to make sure that we can't move on to a position that's already got a piece on it if it's our own piece. But then we also want to be able to check if it's not our own piece and the movement that we're making is a capture movement, we want to capture said piece, right? So let's think about how we're going to do this. Let's start off just with continuous movement data, because I think this is going to be relatively straightforward to pull together compared to the specific. I think we can probably just copy all of this like so. I'm going to leave this to do here for the moment because I want to make sure I can refer back to it so I don't completely forget what I'm doing. How do you use scriptable objects? So is that how do I personally use them, or how does one use scriptable objects in Unity? I can go ahead and answer the latter. So a scriptable object is like a Unity object, but you have it on a project scope rather than a scene scope. So if I define a scriptable object like movement data here, I can head across into the project, right click in the window, go to create and select one of my new scriptable objects, and that then gives me basically a bucket of data that I can use in a prefab or reference at runtime to be able to make use of that data effectively. And something that's really nice about it is because it's still a class, you can kind of do a fair amount of things with them. Like I could still add methods to a scriptable object and be able to call those. I could use it as a channel for events. So if I want to have maybe some system by which I can enable certain things to listen for a given event, but I don't want to have to figure out references to things in multiple scenes across different objects, I could rather have a scriptable object that listens for that event and then sends a message to anything that's supposed to be registered on it. So they're really quite versatile, and it kind of depends what it is that you're trying to achieve, whether you should be using them or shouldn't be using them. Something that people usually like with them is that it lets you persist data between scenes, but oftentimes people get that confused with then being able to save data. So if I were to change something at runtime on a scriptable object and then quit out of stop playing the project and then replay the project, it would seem like I've saved that data, but it hasn't saved. It's just updated the scriptable object in the project, and when you go to build, you won't be able to use that as a save system. So there's a few different aspects where it's handy and where it's not. Yeah, it kind of depends on circumstances. That was a bit of a waffly, non-specific way of describing how scriptable objects work, but we'll hopefully get to see more as I delve through here a bit deeper. So for the continuous movement data, like I say, it's basically going to be exactly the same as what we were doing before, but we are rather going to have a recursive type loop, or a while loop anyway. So we're going to say while target space. So yeah, here we go. Get our target space and move it up here. And then we're going to say while target space actually, yeah, we're going to have our target space be the position of the piece, and then we're going to say while board manager dot instance dot is a valid position target space. I'm going to put that back in. Yeah, that's fine. So we'll get the initial position that we want to check, which is the first step. And then while that position is valid, we can do this, basically. So add the target space to our valid positions. And then we also want to say target space plus equals the same thing again. So we're going to increase our offset in the same direction based on the thing. And we just want to do that until either the piece is valid or the space is invalid, sorry, or we hit something that's capturable. And maybe, you know, we factor in a boolean for if it's a capture, we can say on this something along the lines of like allow continuous movement, or have a number of captures that we can make. So maybe we want like a powerful bishop that can take 3 pieces in one go. I think that would probably be quite a cool power up. But anyway, let's go ahead and start making some more movements. I'm going to go create piece elements, movement data, continuous. This is going to be my rook, or no, let's call it continuous yeah, I'll call it continuous horizontal. And the reason I want to separate these out is because maybe we want to be able to add an ability to like our pawns where they can just step forward as many steps as they want, or something like that. I don't know. We're going to have 2 movement offsets. First one is going to be 1 to the left, or 1 to the right, and the other one's going to be 1 to the left. I'm not going to mark them as captures for the time being. I think we can duplicate this for continuous vertical. And this is instead going to be 0 on the X, and then 1 on the Y, and -1 on the Y. And we'll have one more, which is going to be continuous diagonal. And that's going to be 1, 1, -1, 1, -1, -1, and 1, -1. Nice and simple. Let's go ahead and make a bishop piece. So I'm going to go again, create piece data, call this bishop. It's going to be of type bishop. It's going to be a basic bishop. I want the visual to be our bishop model that I've got here. And then the valid moves, we're just going to add continuous diagonal. And then I think on our test chest, let's go ahead and stick bishop in where the knight was. So we'll have a bishop here, and then maybe we have a knight either side of it. Just so that we break things up a little bit. There we go. Hit play. Nice. So we have indeed got our bishop in the middle, and what we should be able to see is that I can hop all the way to here, I can hop to here, I can go all the way up to this corner. Now I think it's getting confused because the colliders are overlapping. But everything else still works fine. We can't do any word duplications or anything like that. Our pawns are still moving forwards. And we've got continuous movement. Fantastic. Okay, so theoretically, we're now in a position where we can actually create every basic piece in chess. Which is cool. That's actually very cool. The only thing that we're kind of missing is like a multi-directional step. So like our king, we want the king to be able to move in every direction, just one space. But you know, we can.
I'm Peter Frankopan.
What's that ads?
Legacy.
What am I doing with ads? Get out of here. I don't know if I had ads on yesterday's stream, because I was looking back at the stats earlier this morning, and I've seen that it's been flagged for copyright, which I didn't think there was. I've not had any issues with playing Minecraft music in the background before, so maybe it was like just the video that was flagged. I don't know, but yeah, the audio got picked up as copyright material, so yeah, got flagged but not taken down, which is nice. Erin, hello, welcome. We're making some progress. I've just implemented the continuous movement data. It was surprisingly simple. It's basically just doing exactly the same as the specific movement data, but rather than just doing an if check on it, we do a while loop, and while the position is valid, we'll add that position to the valid spaces and then increase our target again in the same direction. Nice and easy. So I think next thing I would like to do is possibly handle capturing. I think that's probably going to be sensible, right? Because we got yeah. I think we handle capturing next. Although I do kind of really want to model a knight, but you know, we'll get there. So there's a question here for how we want to capture pieces. I think we maybe for this get is valid position, rather than just returning a boolean, we could maybe rename this to be try get valid position, and it will spit back true as the return if the position is valid, but we'll also get an output parameter, which is the occupying tile, and that way we can do a check in here to see if it's going to be a capture space or not, and perhaps have rather than just a list of vector 2s, we have a list of like moves, and the move can be, it can have a boolean on it for if it's a capture or not, as well as the position. I like that idea. We're going to go with that. So let's start off by creating another struct here. We're going to have a public struct movement. And this is going to have, like I just said, a public vector to int move location or move tile, and then a public bool is capture, like so. And then let's go ahead on our is valid position. Let's do what I said I was going to do. We're going to rename this to try get valid position. Nice. And then we're going to have an out piece object occupying piece, and I think this is going to require quite a refactor, because we'll probably now need to be keeping track of what pieces are at what tiles in our board manager to be able to check this stuff. So I think we're going to have to untangle that first, which is fine. So let's go ahead and say piece object. Oh well, we don't even need to do that. We can just say occupying piece equals null, like that. And then we'll have a statement at the bottom that just says return false. We'll turn this into an if statement. And then let me just return this to a good indented position. And then in here, There we go. We're going to say return true, and then a to-do get the piece at this position. There we go. What happened to Cozy Game? Cozy Game is still going. I'm just incredibly tired. I'm starting a new job next week. I've got a project in the studio which is for an external client, which is taking up a lot of my time. We've just finished renovating the kitchen and living room space finally. Reorganized the office, new desk, cleaned everything up in here. I've just been incredibly busy, and my brain is not in a space where I want to be working on the a commercial game with a hard time limit, and B, something that is as challenging as trying to build that game out in a month, which is kind of like, you know, failed the challenge, but we take those. Sometimes we we make moves that are too mad, and things need to be rethought. Right, what's red in my board manager? It's saying, here we go, try get valid position. I can just discard this, and then in here let's also just discard for now. And it's going to be the same in the specific movement data. We're going to need to go ahead and discard just for the time being. Cool. So yeah, going back to that question real quick, what I wanted to do with this as well, because I was kind of feeling with Plant Game, there's the cross-pollination mechanic that I want to put in there. I need to do some more practice for my code architecture before I can manage to pull something like that off, because, and I'm kind of going to go on a tangent a little bit back onto what I'm thinking about for Plant Game, and that is that I want to effectively have a series of different blend shapes for different plants which represent a characteristic, something like, say, aggression or longevity. It could be height, it could be anything, could be lots of things, but then we can use those what's the word I'm looking for, use those values, those statistics, I guess, as parameters for controlling the level of the blend shape in the model. But then to do that, I need to make sure that I'm completely separating out all of the data properly, and then making use of, yeah, like completely separating the visuals from the data. That's basically it. And I want to make sure I can figure out how to do those kinds of things efficiently, and in a way that's not going to make my head hurt, but also is still designer friendly, so that if I want to add a new plant or a new statistic, I can do that in a relatively straightforward way. So with little chess roguelike that I'm making here, it's kind of a practice for that. I'm trying to build everything in a very data-oriented way. Not in the sense of, like, you know, entity component system type thing, or a data-oriented tech stack. We're not using dots. It's just from the perspective of, I want to have as much of the game elements as data, and then have a separated front end effectively, so that the visuals are completely detached from the mechanics, and also being able to set things up that can react to other things dynamically, similar to like a card activation effect in Magic the Gathering, or sigils in Inscription, things like that. So that's what we're dossing with. Okay, right, what have I just said? I've said I want to have a way in my board of keeping track of the pieces at any given tile, and I think the best way to do that is probably going to be to have a 2D array of pieces. Because we've got a have we got a method on here for moving a piece to a position? No, we don't. This is kind of something that I'm wondering is, do we, rather than having, so my piece object has the method for moving itself to a position. It just takes in the position and then sets our grid position based on that position. I'm wondering if instead we actually put this on the board manager and we have a public void move piece to position. And that way we can take the piece, set its grid position, but then also update our grid with that piece. Because that would also allow us to clear the old position as well. Either that, or we just like pull it back a whole other level, and rather than having a current grid position, we actually just have an occupying tile. That could be the easiest way to do it. So our board tile now will have like a public piece object occupying piece, and we'll make this a get private set. Can't type. There we go. Get my microphone out the way a little bit. Good. I don't think that's broken the sound. And I think then we probably don't even need to worry about grid positions necessarily. Although, yeesh, maybe we do want those. We maybe do want them to have a reference to where they're stood. We will also have public void set occupying piece. And we can just set the thing directly because we're going to handle capturing externally. So maybe we can actually just have this as an inline. Keep it a bit neater. So then in our board manager, we're now going to have a public, not public, sorry, private board tile array. It's going to be 2-dimensional, and this is going to be our board tiles. Board tiles. And then when we go through here, we can say board tiles x, y equals new tile. We need to make sure that we also initialize our board tiles array. So board tiles equals new, and it's going to be board size dot x, board size dot y. This does need that. There we go. That gives us our array. That gives us our tile. So then when we instantiate the pieces, we also want to say board tiles x. Way careful now. Let's get a cache of our board position var. Oh wait, no, I can use cell position. Yeah, of course. No, I don't want to use cell position. Yeah, okay. Let's get a cache. Var object, or var piece grid position equals data dot tile position. And then we can just use piece grid position here. Like so. And then we can check piece grid position.x, piece grid position.y. And we're going to set the occupying piece to our new piece. I think that should do it. That should do that. So now we've got a way of tracking pieces on the board. What we need to do is have it so that when we move a piece to a position, we update the board appropriately. And we also want to keep track of the tile that we're stood on. So instead of our grid position, we're going to have a private board tile occupied tile. So we're not going to have set grid position anymore. We're going to have, whoopsie daisy, set occupied tile. And then we can say occupied tile equals tile, lowercase. And I want to make sure we're passing in a board tile. And then for our handling our physical position and also our location, I think because we're using local position now, we can probably say transform.parent equals occupied tile.transform. And that way, rather than having to use a grid position, we can just say if it's selected, we're going to say it's just vector2.up or vector3.up times that. Otherwise, it's vector3.0, which certainly makes life a lot more easy. We're going to get a lot of errors about the place now, but that's fine. We're going to clean some of these up soon. Do I know MVP, MVC? I'm aware of MVP and MVC, but I, for the life of me, can never get my head around actually implementing them across different places. I need to just really sit down, read the theory of them properly, and try and build something simple around it. But as far as I'm aware, it's like the idea of you have your model is your data, your view is the visual representation or like the user end, and the controller is some thing that sits in the middle to facilitate passing the data between the two, or passing changes to the data between the two. Yeah, that's my understanding anyway. Right, what am I doing? So I don't want this method here anymore. Looks like it would suit this game. Yeah, I think it definitely would. And it would suit plant game as well. It's just, yeah, getting I need to get to a point where I'm locked into working in that flow. Because especially with, it was kind of like I was saying on last stream, I think, actually. Or I've said it before anyway, using mono behaviors all over the place for everything in Unity projects is very kind of not good, and not the way that you should do things. As soon as a game gets past a certain point, you're going to end up with a combination of raw C# and mono behaviors. And the mono behavior side is effectively the view, or would be where I would want the view to be, or most of the view to be, and then everything else, the controller and the model, all of the data is just pure C#, plain old C# objects. not Pogios because we ain't in Java. But yeah, that's kind of the approach that I want to start taking more, because it does also make actually handling all of that data a little bit more straightforward, in my opinion. It's just getting things to map appropriately between the two is where I'm stuck at the moment, I think. Which is kind of where this is applicable, because I'm thinking about if we can add the concept of like a glass chess piece or a gold striped piece or a marble piece or something, which behave like the effects on jokers in Balatro. They basically would give you like an extra movement or some additional like thing that the piece will do, either as a reaction to something that exists or as a like additional ability behavior. So we can use this as a way to build that system out in a relatively low scope, quite simple project, and have everything be reacting properly in the back end, but also getting the visuals updated in the front end so that you can, like, obviously the player gets some feedback for it. Right, let's go ahead. What file am I in right now? I'm in the piece object. So like I was saying, I don't want this in here anymore. We also don't need a valid, or do we need a valid move position? We do want a valid move position on here. The tile position now, we are just going to pass in. We're just going to pass in a grid position, because then we can do... Yeah, we can do get valid spaces. Right. Let me... brain. Let me just close everything right quick. So the piece object. Piece to grid position we don't care about anymore. I don't want to do that. We just want to compare our occupied tile.grid position. Piece data dot is dark. Oh no, it's just the boolean is dark. Yeah, is dark. So why is this complaining? Can't convert from vector 3 int to vector 2 int, so we can just cast that. Nice. So that's the valid move position sorted. That should work as it was before, because we're basically doing the same as we were before, except now we don't need to convert between a position of a piece to a position of the grid. We can just take the position of the tile that we're stood on, or the grid position of the tile that we're stood on, and that's all fine. We need to have a way to set the occupied tile. We did that already. Good. Handling selection, fine, that's all good. So, and then this move to tile position, we don't care about this anymore, because we're going to do this in the board manager. So I'm going to just delete that from there, and that's going to give us some errors elsewhere. Don't need these methods anymore, because we're not going to worry about it. We want a public void move piece to position. We could even just have move piece to tile. Let's do that, yeah, because then we can pass in a piece object, piece, and a board tile, tile. We can do some quick validation. We can say if board tiles dot contains to list. Can I do to list? No, I can't. Okay. I don't really want to iterate over the top of it to see if the board is in there or not. So rather, let's just say board tiles. Scratch that. We want to say piece dot set occupied tile null. No, I'm being stupid. Piece dot set occupied tile. I think we can just do that actually. It should be as simple as that. And then in our piece object, when we set the occupied tile, we want to do a check to say if occupied tile is not equal to null. Let's tell our occupied tile to clear. Nice, nice. Okay, that's a good step. So back in the board manager, where are we getting errors? Set occupied tile. We just want this. Can delete that. Paste this in here. Let's make sure we tell the occupied tile that we are now on it. Cool, cool. Is that all of our errors? No way is that all of our errors. Yeah, I didn't think so. Piece object does not contain a definition for move to place. Yes, good, good. So, if the selected piece has a valid move position, which we need to update that, don't we, actually? That's what we were saying. So the is valid move position, we now want to update this to return a list of, or this get valid spaces, rather. We want this to return a list of tiles, and possibly even take in a tile. Yeah, sounds good. So we're going to have a list of board tile. Going to take in a board tile for the piece tile. I'll leave it as piece position for now, and we'll keep is dark. We need to go and update our references for that in a second as well. So is valid move position, valid move dot get valid spaces. We're going to pass in our occupied tile, and we want to check if it contains board tile target tile. Nice. So now here we can just pass in tile. And then we can say board manager dot instance dot move piece to tile. We are going to move selected piece, and we want to move it to tile. Nice. Now we need to update our movement data, because this is going to be complaining. So again, this needs to give back a list of board tile. Get valid spaces, going to take in a board tile. And then we're going to need some more utility methods in our grid. So we want to have a hold on a second. Yeah, great. Okay, so we can do a on our try get valid position, rather than outputting a piece, let's output a board tile. And then we can say this is tile at position. Tile at position equals null. If there's no tile there, then we're fine. If it is a valid position, let's say tile at position equals board tiles tile position dot x tile position dot y. Return true, otherwise return false. Fantastic. Wait, so we don't want this to be the piece position, we want this to be the piece tile. So we can rather do piece tile dot grid position as a vector 2. And then we can add board manager dot instance dot oh yeah, we can just out var tile here and add the tile. Yeah, there we go. Factoring in taking pieces. We can do that in just a second because this is going to enable us to start doing that now. Let's do continuous movement data first. Is grid pos a vector 3? It's a vector 3 int on the tile. Really, I should be doing it as a vector 2 int. It doesn't need to be a vector 3. But yeah, maybe we'll refactor it in a second. I'm being lazy, basically. Right, board tile. Rename this piece tile. This is going to be again as a vector 2 int piece tile dot position. Same thing here, we're going to out var tile. This is going to be list of board tiles, add the tile, and we're done. Make it 3-dimensional chess. Oh, don't tempt me. Don't tempt me. I have genuinely thought about it. It's possible. And it could be an interesting additional mechanic. But we'll see. We'll see. Okay, cool. So we, I think we're there. I think everything should be working now. We've maybe got... No, everything should be working. So let's give it a test. Hope and pray. Yo, what's that all about? This piece was here. And it's a bishop. No, it's a knight, so I can go here. Yeah, okay, everything's working. The only thing that we've got going wrong is this initial instance, and the problem is going to be that we're not setting the parent in the first instance. So the board manager, yeah, we want to probably do move piece to tile with the piece and the board tile rather than setting the occupied tile straight up. That's exactly the problem, because we're doing this new piece.set transform as well. So let's get rid of that. We'll just instantiate it, and then we can literally just call move piece to tile. And it's going to be our new piece. And we want to go to board tiles at piece grid position .x, piece grid position .y. Cool. Okay. I am just going to test that real quick, and we're going to test the black pieces as well to make sure they're still moving in the opposite direction and not having issue with it. And then I'm going to lower my desk down and sit. But that's going to be good progress for the first hour of stream. So black piece, yep, stepping forwards. Can't go sideways, can't go that way. This dude can't go back. My knight can still do the hoppity skip thing. Can't go to any word positions. You can move forwards. Bishop can move diagonal. Fantastic. Awesome. Okay, this is great. So now what we need to do is make it so that the pieces can't overlap each other, because that's not what we want. Like, I don't want to be able to step a bishop onto here. I've also broken that tile now. So let's do some validation there. Let's get this desk lowered back down. Never gets old. Brilliant. Okay. So, the way that we can do the validation, we have a couple of options. We've got... Actually, I say we've got a couple of options. This is going to be really quite straightforward and really quite nice because of the way that we've set this thing up. And that is simply a case of... let's start with our specific movement data. Factor in taking pieces. What am I doing? Alt up. We want to say if tile dot is occupied. So let's go ahead and just add that to the board tile real quick. Public bool is occupied, and this is going to return occupying piece is not equal to null. So if it's not null, this is true. If the piece is occupied, and data dot is capture, we do this. Otherwise we do not. Great. Simple and straightforward. We probably also want to figure out if we're capturing or not. Or perhaps we do that in the... We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Continuous movement is going to be much the same. We want to basically check if the thing is if we hit something we can capture, we want to stop moving forward any further, and we maybe put an option in for how many captures we can do, but we'll loop around to get that before. Gavin Makes Games is here. Hi. For anyone who's watching, you should go and check out their game, because it's very cool, very cozy, in a similar kind of realm to Tile Lands, and a very nice looking project, so do go check it. It's interesting that you say there's a lot of Turkish developers, because I do see a lot of jobs in Turkey for game development roles, which, you know, obviously I don't live in Turkey, I live in England, and most of them aren't remote. But yeah, this is quite interesting hearing that there's quite a lot of Turkish Unity developers. Anyway, back in here, let's do this factoring in taking pieces. So again, we want to say if target space, no, if tile dot is occupied, we can say if data dot can capture, add the tile, And then regardless of if it's a capture or not, we want to break out of this loop at this point. Like so. Little Unreal devs. Interesting, interesting. I wonder why that is. To be fair, I feel like Unreal devs are less prolific internet-wise anyway, or at least have been up until recently, because even doing like game jams and talking to people, most people in the indie space weren't using Unreal, at least until Unreal 5 came out, and now it's starting to gain more indie developer traction. And I think a lot of that was also to do with Unity going swiftly downhill with the previous CEO, which, you know, hopefully is still going to be on an up now that he's left and Unity 6 is happening and everything. But yeah, I don't tend to meet many Unreal devs unless they're people trying to find a job in industry. Anyone who's doing indie development more is either using Godot or using Unity, or Game Maker, but that's also kind of not as common for me. And then you've got people who are using stuff like Bevy and love more of the frameworks and stuff, which is really cool. I envy those people because it's another level of working. All right, so we now have yeah, we've now got a bunch of stuff here, and I think what we want to do is continue with what I was saying earlier, where we return a list of movements rather than a list of moved tiles, and that means we can also change this to be a board tile now, and we'll have a public. I think we can probably have these be get only. Get private set. Get private set, like that. And then we'll have public movement, which will take in a board tile, and a bool is capture. And we just do that, move tile equals tile, and is capture equals capture. Start that again. Is capture with a capital I equals is capture with a lowercase I. Cool. And I always forget when I'm making structs that because structs are non-nullable, or like when you make them anyway, you can't have any uninitialized parameters, variables, members. Everything has to have a value set to it when you create an instance of it. But this is great. So now when we go into our movement data, we're not going to return a list of board tiles. We're going to return a list of movement. I need to update my interface, or my this one. List of movement. List of movement. Movement. We're going to add a new movement, which is going to pass in the tile. What am I doing? What am I doing? We're just going to pass in the tile and true if it's occupied. Otherwise, if it's not occupied, we'll add new movement with the tile and false. What was my day job? My day job is still, potentially, unfortunately, maybe not, depends who you ask, DevOps engineering. I started off as a programmer, software engineer for a Java company called Parara. I was there as an apprentice in 2018, up until 2022. I left there in the middle of 2022, which ironically was like just short of a year before I would have finished my degree, for multiple reasons, not least of all personal health reasons, and stress management and things like that. So left that company, dropped out of my degree, got a different role at a new company, who I've just left in March, and then from that I'm now starting a new role at a different company again as a platform engineer, which I start next Tuesday. Very exciting, looking forward to getting to know the team because they are very, very nice people. I really enjoyed the interview process and talking with all of them, so I'm quite looking forward to being in a team like that. But you know, the end goal is to try and get the studio to a point where I can have a full-time income off of it, which it's getting there, to be honest. One part of that, which I talk a lot more about in the kind of update blog posts that I do on my Patreon page, is the kind of business-to-business side of game development, both in capacity of creating software that businesses might, like game development businesses might find helpful, like extra tools, assets, platforms for doing things in the game development space, but then also developing games for other people, either, you know, the idea guys who have ideas and want to develop games but need a team. I, you know, charge them money to do game development for them, or companies that want some playable thing, want some interactive media, playable data, game thing, need an app developed, whatever, porting, publishing, etc., etc. I can do that kind of stuff as a service, and there is a market for it. There is a good market for it because, you know, there's people who maybe are indie devs or newer devs, devs that have small teams and don't particularly want to spend the time doing the other stuff like the marketing and all the rest of it, but yeah, they can outsource those things to someone like myself, and it's a bit of a better option. To answer the question, I'm focusing on growing the YouTube channel a little. That's kind of what I've been doing these past few months. Like in March, before I left the job that I was at, the channel was on less than 1,000 subscribers. I think we had 950 odd, and it's now up to like nearly 1,500 subscribers, which is great. And that has been just because I've been doing like daily live streams for a little while. I took a little break for the last couple of weeks while I've been sorting out job interviews and whatnot, but that's been really good. The problem is, even when you've got a decently sized YouTube channel, and I'm talking like 10,000 subscribers, maybe even 7,000, but in that magnitude, which is realistically the point where you can be doing certain things, the money isn't enough to sustain what I need to be able to keep living. Like, you know, the flat that I live in, we own that flat, it's bought, we have a mortgage that needs to be paid, I've got a cat that needs feeding, needs his insurance, needs his vet appointments, etc. We've got a car that we pay for on a monthly basis because we need to be able to travel, and weren't in a position where we were wanting to get an old like sugar honey iced tea box for want of a better term. So it's just, yeah, with those monthly expenses and the amount of income that Adele makes on her own, I wouldn't be in a position to be able to comfortably say, both from the pressure that it would put on her, but also just from us being able to live and the types of things I want to do with my free time, I wouldn't be able to make enough money from YouTube, especially if it was like just ads. This is why things like the Patreon and the Buy Me a Coffee link are really helpful, because realistically it is those things like supporting on the platforms, buying the games that I make, and all the rest of it that actually make the money. YouTube ad revenue is terrible, and sponsorships you don't really get until you're at a much bigger size and pulling a bigger consistent volume on videos. So there's that. And then obviously going back into full-time employment again and having a job, it means there's not that much time for me to be doing regular videos, regular live streams at the velocity that I'd need to be doing and at the quality that I'd want to be achieving for the channel to continue growing. So it's like it's a constant push and pull. If I get to a point where I can save up a good pot on the side to say, you know, I can take 6 months out or a year out of work and just do this full time without making any money, that's what I aim to do in the next couple of years. But it's just, yeah, it's a slow process. Right, let's update our movement data, our other one here. We want to say I think I'm going to do it like this. We'll have bool is capture equals oh, we've already done it. Oh, yeah, no, I won't bother. We'll just add new movement tile, can't spell, tile, and true. Otherwise, false. Amazing. That is the dream. That is the dream. And it's very, very possible. Like, I think something, I'm going to go off on a bit of a tangent and a rant a little bit about YouTube game developers at the moment. Something that people really don't show is the actual process of being an indie game developer, but one that's trying to make money, trying to actually, you know, progress, or trying to actually make a living from things. Because a lot of people on YouTube, they'll, oh well, I've spoken about it before, and there's a video on the channel actually that kind of covers it, but just a quick recap of what I said. In my eyes, you have two types of YouTube developers. You have the YouTubers who make games and the game developers who make YouTube videos. I want to fall into the latter camp, that is game developers who make YouTube videos. My goal is to make games. I don't want to be a YouTuber in terms of, like, I don't want to have my job be making videos. I want my job to be making games and selling games, whether they're my own games, games that I can help other people publish, games I can help other people develop, whatever it may be. That's my goal. The YouTubers who make games are people who I would say it's like Blackthorn Prod nowadays is more that camp. Danny was kind of that camp, but somewhere in the middle. There's a few other YouTubers like that, people who are massively successful on YouTube because they're making YouTube content, not games. Like Blackthorn Prod especially is one that I think about a lot recently, because I used to watch lots of Blackthorn Prod back when he was making tutorials and developing games, but they've kind of moved into the realm of courses and YouTube video challenges, which they use as an advert for those courses, and it doesn't sit happily with me personally. But you know, what can you do? So yeah, to loop back around to what my actual point was going to be, something that I really want to do with my channel is being very transparent and realistic about everything that I do for the game studio as a company, how I make it sustainable, how I'm working with other people, you know, managing the finances, moving to a position where I can do it full time, and how I'm scaling that. I think that's so much more useful, so much more valuable to people who are looking to become game developers, because you know, truth be told, the majority of people who come onto YouTube see YouTube game developers making games and being like, yeah, I do this full time, or potentially they don't even do it full time, but the guise of being a game developer on YouTube kind of, you only see the good bits. You only see the good bits, and I want to show the bad bits as well, because there are parts of running a game studio, running a company, running a business that don't they don't get shown, and a lot of people would probably give up if they knew what they were getting into. So I really want to share that. And yeah, I fully agree, Blackthorn Prod and Thomas Brush are, they kind of went downhill. They used to be really, really great channels, and yeah, it kind of does feel a little bit like a false advertisement, because I've done the full-time game dev course that Thomas Brush sells, and it's got good bits, don't get me wrong, like the stuff around marketing and the stuff around Kickstarter campaigns. Some of the resources for getting publishers are really great, and it's nothing that you couldn't find out yourself, nothing that you couldn't figure out yourself and do yourself, but it gives you a bit of a head start, and having the community there is great. Like, there's other people in that community who are other YouTube developers, other people who are, you know, quite successful, becoming quite successful, who are just nice to have in your network. And I think being in that course, it's like university as well. It's the contacts and the people that you meet along the way that make that more valuable than the content of the course itself. But yeah, when it comes to their YouTube channels and the types of content they're putting out nowadays, I really don't like it. And it's probably one reason why I'm not posting YouTube videos as much as I would like to. Because if I was going to post YouTube videos, I want it to be devlogs or things about what I'm working on. And a lot of the time I'm just not actually developing games as much as I'd like to be, because I have to work on the admin side of the business. Especially recently, I've been doing a lot with, you know, sorting out an accountant, getting legals in place for this external project that we're developing, contractor agreements for the people who are coming on board to help with that project, and all sorts of stuff like that, that just means I haven't been able to spend all my free time coding, or working on stuff that I can share publicly. So anyway, moving swiftly on, because I want to get this working, we want to update our check here for how we're validating this board tile with the tile. So what we actually want to do probably is iterate over all of the valid spaces in our thing. So we're going to do for each var valid space in valid move dot get move, what is it, valid move, what is it, get valid spaces, there we go. And I can't remember what we pass into this, the tile, and then is dark, target tile is dark. For each one of those we can say if valid space dot tile is equal to target tile, return true. Banging. Cool. I think that should be everything. I don't think I've missed anything. So now we should have captures in place. We need to make sure that we don't or well, actually, scratch that. I haven't set any of these moves up to be able to capture. So this is good. This is good. We should no longer be able to move. If I move my pawn, oh, okay, I've clearly messed something up. Okay, all right, fair. I think that's going to be somewhere in here. it's got to be somewhere in here, because the wait. So in our normal get valid spaces, we go over all of the different movement offsets we have. Get the target position, which is going to be our piece tiles grid position plus whatever the offset is. And then if it's a valid position, we know this was working because we did it. So it's going to be something in here. If the tile is occupied, I think I want to do a debug.log tile.is occupied, just to see what we end up with. If it is occupied and we can capture, we don't want that to be like that. We want to do this as a separate line. If what is it? Data.can capture. There we go. So yeah, reason being, obviously having it here before where I was using an and, if either of those things were false, so even if the thing was occupied but we can't capture, it's just going to default to this, and it's going to add the position not as a capture, which is not what we want. We don't want it to be a valid position, so we want to check if it's occupied. Cool, go in here. If it's a capture, we can do this, otherwise don't add anything. If it's not occupied, we can handle that, that's fine. Cool. So, I don't think we need to do a similar thing in here while the position is valid. So if the position is a valid position, we want to say if it's occupied, then check if we can capture. And then break. Yeah, that's all good. That's all good there. Cool. So let's check and see if the tile is occupied or not. It shouldn't be, but sometimes stupid things happen. Good, it's not. Which means our problem is where I thought it was, in our that method that I was just looking at. Bruh, let's remove this to do actually while I'm here. Where was I just looking? Piece object? Yes, this one. So when we're iterating over all of the spaces, the valid spaces in here, I reckon it's probably this. I want to do a test. I want to debug.log valid space dot move tile. And then we'll use valid space.move tile as the object. And I also want to go onto my board manager, and on my new tile, I want to say new tile.name equals tile and we'll pass in the coordinates. And actually, I think I want to make sure this is new tile.gameObject just to be certain. Did I just put on caps lock? There we go. I've got a new keyboard on the way, which I'm looking forward to. It's another low profile one, because at the moment I'm using the Newfie Air 65 or 75 or whatever it's called. But I've got the low free flow on the way, and I'm very excited to use that. Can I show you how to make a mining system? Short answer, no, because it's not that simple. And that's not me saying implementing it isn't that simple, but what is your mining system? Like, do you want it? Is it like a Minecraft mining system? Is it a different kind of system where you like select a group of blocks and then send some things off to mine them? There's different aspects that you need to think about when you're designing a system, and questions that you need to answer before you can think about how to actually build it. Because like I've said before, programming isn't about knowing how to code, it's about knowing how to solve problems. And if you don't know the problem you're trying to solve, you're not going to be able to come up with a solution for it. So that's the first thing. In terms of how you would actually implement a generic mining system, things that probably any mining system is going to need, you're going to have resources that can be mined. And in those, you probably want to have something along the lines of like a mine duration, and then how much of a given resource it's going to give back. For example, iron ore. Maybe your iron ore takes 10 seconds to mine and gives back 3 pieces of iron ingot or something, you know? And then you need to think about how you want to tie that together with the player. How's the player interacting with the resource? There's lots of different moving parts, basically. It's kind of, you have to go through each of the questions that you have for the system, have answers for them, and then solve the problem of how do I get from that start point to the solution. And that's where the code comes in. You've put mining again. I'm gonna assume it's some autocorrect or something, and wait for the the question that you mean to ask to come through. Okay, we are getting the right board tile coming through. I think. Can select this in the world. We're not getting the right board tile come through. It's selecting the one in front. That's very interesting. Very interesting indeed. Wait. Tile 1-3. That's just not even the right tile. What tile are you? You're tile 4-1. That makes a lot of sense. Let me put this in debug mode real quick, because I think that should show me the grid position. Yep, 4-1. Am I missing something here? So if I click this black square, that gives me 3-1. Click, click. That's given me multiple tiles just then. Which is fine. I think that's what I was printing, isn't it? Where did I put the debug log? Here. So for each valid space, it's telling us the move tile. So I've just clicked, what piece have I just clicked? I've clicked this one. This is 3-1. It's got 1-3. 2-2. 4-2. I think it's got the... I think it should be 2-4. It should be 3-1. No, because that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. I've definitely messed something up somewhere. Mining system. Yeah. So it's the same answer that I give. The answer is no, I can't show you how to make a mining system so that you can break blocks in game, because it completely depends on what the specifics of that system need to be. Like, it depends what like, I need more information, basically. Which, to be fair, I do teach lessons. If you wanted to do a proper lesson, I can't, but it's not as simple as just, I need a mining system. There's no such thing as a mining system. It's a mining system for this game, or this kind of mining system. So I'd need more information, and more time to then be able to, you know, pick apart the problem to come up with a solution for what said mining system should look like. There are also billions of tutorials for that kind of mechanic, though. But I would definitely encourage you to try to think about how you would do it yourself, at least from a design point of view, like just written as a flow chart, because that's like the first step to being able to program it, is just having the process of the steps written out. Because yeah, like I say, programming is problem solving, not writing code. Sort of. Obviously writing code is a part of it, but the main thing is problem solving. If you can write code but you can't solve problems, then you're going to have a hard time programming. Like me right now, trying to figure out why this is picking the wrong tiles. Yeah, I'm honestly not certain what's going on here. I think it has to be something with this new movement stuff. Or perhaps it's the tile that we're passing in. But no, it's not, because when we were returning just a straight up vector 2, it could be this, perhaps? This cast that we're doing here. But it shouldn't be. How long have we been going for? Hour and a half. Okay, cool. What I would like to do today as well is also get some visuals set up for where the pieces, or like the moves that we've got for the selected piece. I think that would be really cool, and we can do that using shapes, because shapes is awesome and we love it very much. But I need to get this working first before we can make that happen. For each valid move in valid moves, for each valid space in that valid move spaces. Get valid spaces. We don't want to pass in, we want to pass in the piece position. There we go. There we go. That should do it. Nice. Why did that say true? That should not have said true. And why is it printed false like 9 times? Oh, I think it's because we're just printing out. Wait, no. Line 17. Cool. Let's get rid of that. I think everything should now be working as is. Nothing is set to be able to capture, so we shouldn't be able to move the bishop into our knight. If I move the knight here and then pick this up and click here, great, puts it back down. I can still move to this square and this square, but I can't move to this square because I can't capture. Thank you very much, and thanks for stopping by. Hopefully you're enjoying the stream, and hopefully I'll see you at another one. Good luck with your game as well, and if you've got any stuff that you can share, Discord server, link in description. I would love to see, genuinely. I really like seeing what other people are working on. But have a good one, have a good one. Hopefully see you again soon. Right, so we probably want to implement captures. And part of that is going to be in our movement data. We want to see not just if we can capture, but if the occupying tile, so the tile dot occupying piece dot is dark is not equal to is dark. So if we are the opposite color, then we know that this is going to be a capture and we can return it. If we're not the opposite color, it's one of our own pieces and we just don't want to be able to move there. Let's put this in our continuous piece as well. Bang. And then when we move, on our selection controller, when we call this move, we probably want to we probably want to use the movement rather than the piece itself. Or perhaps we could just do the check again if I'm being lazy. In an ideal world, what we'd want to do is handle move selected rather than handle tile selected. Pass in a movement and validate that movement. Not that we even need to validate the movement. I mean, we could just have this also output a boolean for if it's a capture. But, you know, for the time being, let's just do this in the board manager. When we move the piece, we want to say if tile dot is occupied, tile dot occupying piece dot capture. And we'll go ahead and put a method on our piece object, capture, public void capture, which is going to set our occupying tile to null. Or well, do this clearing of the occupied tile. And then, actually, you know what we can do? We can just say here, let's say if tile is equal to null, we say occupied tile equals null, and then return. Nice. So in the capture, set occupied tile to null. We need to make sure we do that first. There we go. Cool. And then maybe we do that, and then we can just say if occupied tile is equal to null, return. There we go. So now when we call set occupied tile, we can pass in null as the thing that we pass in. If we already have an occupied tile, we're going to clear it, and then we're going to update our tile. If our tile is now null, we just skip the rest of this, which is setting the occupied piece, updating our parent, and updating our position. We don't care about doing that. So capture, and then we can destroy the game object. Sweet! That should now allow us to capture, so let's make it so that our pawns can capture diagonally, shall we? So I'm going to add a new piece data, movement data specific, and this is going to pawn capture. I'm going to switch back out of debug mode on my inspector. There we go. We want 2 movement offsets, and we want it to be 1 forward, 1 to the left, 1 to the right, 1 forward, and both of these are going to be captures. Stop. I want to put this on my pawn. Go to our pawn, add this to our list of valid moves. And now we should be able to trot forwards and capture. Alas, we cannot. Alas, we cannot. But we can with the white. So there we go, our black piece is gone, which is fantastic, but for some reason capturing with the black piece is not doing the do. Very interesting. Okay, that's going to be something with our logic in here then. Tile.occupyingPiece.isDark is not equal to isDark. Let's do a little debug.log. isDark me them. I don't think that's even what I actually want to do. I probably want to print this line actually in our piece where we validate the move position. That's going to be isDark, and this is going to be balance based on move tile. Although we should be expecting this to not return anything. We should be expecting the movement to not give us back anything as an option. When we take a look in here, which is oh, no reference exception. Of course, because it doesn't need to have an occupying piece. Right, ignore me, I'm being dumb. We're going to stop playing here. We're going to go back into our specific move data. I'm going to plonk this back in here. And I want to see what the state of play is when we come to capture with a black piece. Or even if we move a black piece, because we should be able to see move you forwards, bring you to there, here, click. Okay. So yeah, that's just not... Whoa. Okay, right, okay. We've got some issues that we need to work out here, as we could see quite clearly there. So I have neglected to check if we can, like, if start again, our movement parameters, we don't want this to be a boolean for can capture. We probably want this to be an enum for movement type, and the movement types can be move, capture, or move and capture, right? And this is again where I kind of want to be looking at Odin for having a multi-select. Let's have a look. Odin multi-select enum. No, that's not what I want. Enum toggle buttons. Also not what I want. But it looks like that's the only two things they've got specifically for enum. I mean, I suppose I can have it as a boolean, but I need to make sure that one of them is always true. Screw it. We're going to do it as an enum. We're going to do it as an enum. We are going to have a public enum movement type move. Capture. Move. And capture. I want to do this in a better way. I don't like it like this. There, I mean, you know what? Yeah, screw it. We'll do it as two balls. Can capture. Public ball. Move without capture. There we go. And then we can probably use a Odin show parameter if bool is true. Show if attribute. Amazing. Wait, no, I don't want show if attribute because that's only if we've got like an attribute on. Waha. Show if. Brilliant. So we can go on here onto my can capture. We want to say show if. Have I not got Odin installed? Oh my gosh. Right, we need to amend that immediately. Odin is a must-have. Just give that a second to do its thing. So again, for anyone watching who doesn't know what Odin is, because I literally say it in every live stream I do pretty much, Odin is like the ultimate inspector Unity extension. Lets you do all sorts of custom inspector stuff and crazy enhanced inspector things in Unity, like serializing dictionaries, so you can edit dictionaries and other obscure data types like hash sets and stuff in the inspector. Adds a load of attributes for doing things like this, where if we want to, you know, have a can I import please? There we go. If I want to have a property hidden if something is not the case, we can do that really easily. It lets you build out custom inspectors and custom Unity tools really easily. I've actually used it in Plant Game in one of the other streams. If you want to go and look at any of those, can't remember which episode it was, but we made like a full custom inspector and custom management window for scriptable objects in a database. It's really cool. You should have it. Everyone needs to, if they are making games with Unity. Okay, so back in our move data now, we want to first of all say well, we've got a few different cases to cover, don't we? So we want to check if the tile is occupied and we can capture, then, or what order do we want to do this in? We probably want to say if data dot move without capture no, yeah. If the tile is occupied and we can capture, we capture. Otherwise, if data dot move without capture no, because we want to else. So if there's nothing there, hold on, my brain is taking over. So if there's nothing there, we only want to move into it if we aren't a capture movement or if we can move without capturing. So if not can capture or move without capture, then we can do this. There we go. I imagine it's going to be a similar story over here. In fact, it's going to be a pretty much identical story over here. We literally want to just yoink this. Whoops. I think that's it. So if the tile is occupied, then we want to check if we can capture, and if it's not on our team, we return true as a capture. Break. Otherwise, if we I think I probably want to do this the other way around. So still do that, but we'll say if we can capture and we aren't allowed to move without capturing, we break from this while loop and go on to the next. Yeah, I think that should do it. I think that should do it. Fantastic. So that should solve our problem of pawns being able to move diagonally, but we should still be able to take. So yeah, my pawn now can't move there. He can move forwards and we can capture. Fantastic. This dude can move forwards. Still can't capture. Can he capture this way? No, he can't capture this way. So that makes me wonder. Yeah, that makes me confused, is what that makes me. Makes me very confused indeed. I see no reason why the pawn shouldn't be able to do that. Let's get our continuous diagonal. Woof. Error in statement. Oh, it's because it needs to be capital C. Can capture. There we go. There we go. Can capture, move without capture, can capture, move without capture, can capture, move without capture. Have those all be true. So now our bishop should be able to do its thing. Bishop, moving, bishop, capture. Still can't move onto pieces with our own, but we can capture other pieces. Fantastic. So I would like to give black a bishop now in our test chess data, and it would be nice to maybe display this as a list of positions. We'll maybe make a custom inspector next stream, but for now I'm going to stick a black bishop in the middle of the board on the opposite team. Oh yeah, and he just can't move at all. That's very interesting. Why can he not move at all? Oh, I have a theory. I think it's because we're inverting the Y. So when I select it and click to move here as a black piece, it's actually going to try and look at this space here. So this works fine for the pawns. Wait, am I being stupid? Why would it work for the pawns and not for the bishop? Or why would it work for horizontal movements and not for vertical movements? I think another way that we can test this is with the rook. So let's, not the rook, sorry, the knight. So let's put some knights in again. We'll basically have our mirrored setup going. So these guys can't move either. Sorry? Sorry? Okay, it's definitely something that I've done in the checking vector to int dot down. of course. Of course, of course, of course. Yeah, I do need to split this up because vector2.down obviously is 0 on the x-axis, so we're just cancelling out any horizontal movement. What we actually need, let's maybe get ourselves a utility method in our movement data. Let's have a public void flip offset direction. And it's not going to be a void, it's going to be a vector2 int. And it's going to take in a vector2 int offset. And we're going to spit back new. It's going to be offset.x and negative offset.y. And then over here, let's just spit back, if we're dark, flip offset direction. And we'll go through and do the same here. Flip offset direction and flip offset direction. Cool. Good. Moving bishop, moving knight. Pawns can step forward. Let's see if we can capture this bishop. Oh, bugger. I moved forward too far. We'll capture this rook. Yeah, amazing. I keep saying rook instead of knight. Of course, I haven't set the knight to capture yet, so we're not going to be able to do that. Brilliant. This is good. Okay, everything is working as should be. And with that, I've been going for just over 2 hours, which is my usual cutoff time. Do I want to attempt to dabble with adding in the selection visuals now? I kind of do, yeah. Run it, let's do it. Folder, visualizers. I'm going to create a C# script, and this is going to be called our selected piece movements visualizer. Now, do I remember how to do this? We want this to be a shapes. It's an immediate mode shape drawer. And we want to override draw shapes. We are going to have serialize field, private color, capture color, serialize field, private color, move color, and then probably a serialize field, private, it's a float, space, outline, radius, and a serialize field, private, float, space, marker size. Cool. So then we also on awake, private void awake. And I want to make sure I'm not hiding anything. Good. We're going to say piece object.on piece selected .add listener update selected piece. Generate that method. Likewise, private void on destroy. We'll unsubscribe from that. And all this is going to do is say, I think we can probably have a list of movements. And over here, in our update selected piece, we will say selected piece movements equals piece is equal to null, new. Otherwise, piece dot get piece data dot get moves. What did I call it? Piece data dot valid moves. Piece data, valid moves. Oh, I need to do a for each. Okay, right, okay. We're going to say if piece is equal to null, selected piece movements dot clear. Otherwise, we want to say, I mean, we probably want to, yeah, let's clear it anyway. And then we can return if it's null. If it isn't null, we could do a for each on valid move in piece dot get piece dot piece data dot valid moves, and then for each of those so that's going to give us back our movements. We want to pass in piece dot occupying our piece is occupied tile and piece dot is dark. And we're going to go ahead and convert our piece object, our occupied tile. We're going to make this public. We're going to make it get private set. And we're going to rename it. Follow our naming conventions. Head back to our visualizer, wherever it is. There it is. Visualizer. And we're going to say selected piece movements dot add valid space. Nice and simple. So now we have a list of all of the movements. We don't want this to be read only. Or actually we could have it be read only. So we have a list of all of the valid moves for the selected piece. And then in our draw shapes, we want to iterate over each of them and draw a square at that position. So for each var move in selected piece moves, we are going to do shapes. Is it shapes.draw? I'm going to have to go back and look at the shapes documentation because I can't remember how to do this. Shapes documentation. And it's immediate mode drawing that we're using. Yeah, we can just call draw dot something. So we're going to draw, and we want to draw a square or a box. Rectangle border. Is it going to be draw.rectangle border? Draws a rectangle with a given size. Amazing. The position is going to be our move.tile.grid not grid position. We want it to be the world space position of that tile. Which is probably where our board manager conversions would come in handy again. So let's do public vector 3, and this is going to be grid to world pos. Tile to word pos. I'm going to pass in a board tile, and we're going to spit back grid. I mean, yeah, we're going to do this, aren't we? Is what we want to do. There we go. There we go. So it's giving us back a vector 3 that's got... Yeah, giving us back a vector 3 where... Good. That's fine. Board manager dot instance dot tile to world position move dot move tile. What else do we need? A rect. So this is going to be a new rect. And how do I do a rect? Wait, what? What do you mean I have to convert from rect to float? It wants a rect and then a float. The thickness, which is going to be our thickness, outline, radius. What are my 3 overloads? I ask myself. I imagine it's going to be the center, so vector 3 0 or vector 2.0 it'll be. I want to see the overloads, please. I'm gonna have to Google that. VS Code C method overloads. Control Shift Space. Am I going to just... then the overloads for the method will be displayed by choosing Edit IntelliSense Parameter Info. There we go. Position. No, I want for the rect, not for the rectangle. Bruh. Damn it. Yeah, okay, I can't see overloads for constructors. That's annoying. I'm assuming it's going to be the position and then the size. So let's do vector 2.1 multiplied by our size. Yeah, position and size, perfect. And then we also want to specify the color to be equal to is capture or move dot, come on, move dot is capture color, move color. And theoretically that should do it. So if we create ourselves an empty in the scene now, and this is going to be our movement visualizer. Pop our visualizer on there. I'm going to reset the transform because I hate it when Unity creates stuff in random places. Give our colors full opacity. I think the capture color will make like a peachy red, and the movement color will make like a neutral kind of blue. The radius I want to be maybe 0.75, and we'll make the size 0.9 or 0.8, and we'll press play and we'll see how this goes. Great, we're not drawing anything. Fantastic. Either that or we're drawing stuff in a really weird position, such that we can't see it. Let me just hide the ground real quick. Or hide everything in the scene, shall I? This may be where I discover that I haven't got immediate mode drawing enabled. Can I remember how to enable it? That's the question. I need to add the shapes render feature. Still not getting anything drawn. Yep, immediate mode shape drawer. I'm forgetting to do the using, which may be the problem. What is it? Using draw.command. Of course, yeah, you have to have a draw command, or it won't draw. Oh, things start getting yucky. Huzzah! Look at that. It's kind of working, but we're not clearing. Oh, look at that! We're just not clearing the list when we select a different thing. That's so cool, though. Okay. Let's say if selected piece movements.count is equal to 0, we return. And then we need to actually get these things drawing in the right orientation. Gives us back a vector 3. I think I can probably just say draw dot rotate, and we'll want to rotate along X by 90 degrees. And that's going to mess up all of our positions, actually, now I think about it. Yes, no, what am I doing? I'm being stupid is what I'm doing. What we can do is put a rotation on here. Like that. Nice. That's getting closer, but for some reason now the squares are... Oh, the squares are offset. Very weirdly. The squares are offset very weirdly. So you can see they are... I wonder if the... Yeah, okay, cool. So the center of the square appears to be not the center of the square, but the bottom left corner of the square, which is annoying. If I'm being honest, I would much prefer if it was the center of the square, because then I wouldn't have to do any funky maths to get the offsets right. So I don't think we even need to do tile to world pos, or if we do tile to world pos, we want to just spit back the cell position like so. And we want to make sure that we offset this position by oh, what's it going to be? 1 minus the size divided by 2. So we're going to do vector 2.1 multiplied by 1 minus the size over 2. And that should theoretically put us a square in the middle of our tiles. Let's check it out. Well, that didn't work. And we're also not stopping drawing. After the thing is no longer selected. I imagine that's probably because when we set selected, we're not... Yeah, we're only invoking the set selected here. We probably rather want to just handle some things through here. So I think what I will do is we're going to split some stuff out into some methods. So I'm going to have a private void update selected piece. And this is going to take in a piece selected. Whoops. Piece object selected piece. And then anywhere where we're setting our selected piece to equal something, we're instead going to call update selected piece with the value. Like that. And then I'm gonna have a reference no, I'm not. I'm going to fire off a different event because it's cleaner. We're going to have a public static Unity event piece object on selected piece updated. And we'll invoke that down here. And then on our visualizer, we'll instead listen to that. So selection controller dot on selected piece updated. And then sorting out this position, let's try putting this back to vector 2.0. Is there a position argument that I can give? There is a position argument that I can give. For the time being, I'm going to have it be vector 3.up multiplied by 0.01. Just so we've raised it slightly. The best overload for rectangle border doesn't have a position named pos. Quick fix. Can I need to reorder the operands. Or this belongs in a different place anyway. Oh, of course. I've already got position. Let's just add that. There we go. And that's probably why we also want to put the offset as well. Sloping back in my chair. Ooh. Did I forget to make it a serialized field? No. What was throwing the null exception? That should be in start, not awake. Oh, and I need to make an instance of the event DOI. Selection controller. We can make this public static read only equals new. There we go. I think we should now be there, ladies and gentlemen. Huzzah! So yeah, we can see that it's made it in the bottom left corner. So all we need to do now is just offset. Are you going to draw on top of the... No, you're not. Fantastic. So yeah, we just need to push it in by... What do we need to push it in by? I figured it out and now I've forgotten. So we want to move it in plus new vector 3 1 0 1 times did we say it was 1 minus the size? And then divide that whole thing by 2. Perfect. Look at that. We now have our valid movements being selected, and if I move over here we can see that this is a capture position. No captures available for this one because we haven't set it up to do captures. This has no valid moves. Let's move my knight and my bishop out of the way, bring my pawn forward, make sure that he's got his captures. He does indeed. That's the only valid move that we've got. We can take that and it's good. How great is that? Alright guys, that has been a very successful stream in my opinion. We've made really good progress here. And I think that's a really good place to wrap up as well. So thank you very much everyone for watching. If you enjoyed, please consider subscribing. We're almost at 1.5 thousand, 1,500, 1.500, almost there, which is great. If you want to get more involved with the community and seeing what I'm working on, please consider joining the Discord server down in the description. If you want to support the studio financially, we have a Patreon page where I do blog posts about the business side of the Patreon, as well as sharing my utility scripts and bootstraps for Unity projects. If you don't want to support for the $5 a month over there, then please consider just supporting as a one-off on the Buy Me a Coffee link, which is over to that side over there. And I'll be back tomorrow. Thanks very much guys. See you in the next one.